In this second video, we'll be talking about fitting into social situations where vaping is the norm, and we'll also be talking about the effects that vaping has on the mind and the body.
Feels cool. It feels cool when you're doing it. When you're like vaping and just stay in the corner, you got your Backstreet Boys music in the background, you're just there like imagining you're in a movie or something, just staring at the skyscraper, just one day.
So you can actually see how amongst the younger or the youth that coolness and feeling cool and movie like sort of how it's appealing.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. You can definitely see that. I got hooked on it, or like that. That cool moment thing.
Which is it's becoming a real noticeable thing amongst the youth, that coolness, fitting in, that peer,
It's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's literally like you feel like a different person whenever you're like around people vaping, because you feel like the FOMO comes in, like the fear of missing out. You just like feel like you're acting too cool, like in a weird way. You're like, oh, I'm too good for vaping, and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna vape like a few like puffs just to like not feel out of place and not feel like the weird one out, because people usually share their vapes and you're like, do you want to vape, do you want to like get a hit and shit like that, and then you're just like, oh, okay, sure, if you're offering.
And sometimes, and I understand what you were talking about before, Henry, about, and also yourself, Honey, about that coolness, that fitting in, that fear of missing out, which is really important being a young person, and even adults as well. But the addiction part, or that dependency, is extremely overpowering.
Yeah.
When with vaping, it is very, very addictive. It's also very addictive for youth, particularly where brain development is at that stage. And so, the excessive use, because it's also, you've got it in your hand all the time. So it's just this constant like this. Or, one puff versus, how many times a day, how many puffs per time. And some of them can equal up to 100 cigarettes, one vape, which then does create a lot of anxiety within young people because of how much nicotine's been pumped through their system. And then it also affects their ability to, attention, how they can be attentive, their learning, so through school or anything else, it affects their learning and also their memory as well. So it's a real, it's difficult, and it is hard to stop that.
Completely, especially when it's like such a big sort of thing happening like literally everywhere. Like you can be watching YouTube from like America, a YouTuber like smoking, someone on Twitch like smoking just like casually and stuff, and it's like it's literally everywhere around you.
What people don't understand is that nicotine actually releases dopamine in the brain, so which is calming, relaxing, content, feelings. But at the same time, the nicotine is a stimulant. So you just sometimes when you're overdoing it per se, you're feeling agitated, a bit flighty, a bit edgy, but you feel okay here. So there's this real sort of cyclic thing going on. I'm feeling calm when I have it, as soon as I take a puff, when if you put it down, but then it's like I'm feeling edgy, I need to have another one. And so that's where this thing's just...
It's quite literally, I probably won't compare it to other crazier drugs, but it's quite similar to like some of the other substances. People have them, and they're like, okay, that's calm, I can control it, and then later on, they just keep on going because it gives them that dopamine, and they begin to associate, that product with the feeling of happiness or of calm or whatever. And that's where the real danger lies.
And nicotine is the most addictive drug substance on the market.
And it's so accessible that the market wants you to have it.
It's the most widely available. It's the most widely available.
And to add on to that, have you ever seen or been around your friends and noticed how they get when they lose their vape?
Yes.
Have you seen what they get like?
It's worse than like losing a wallet. Like literally they're like,
they go crazy.
I don't care about that. Give me my phone.
It's worse than losing a wallet.
Just for fun, I take my friends' vapes and I just hide them.
Hey,
watch
they
their
bring around.
reaction. It's like
stuff
it's not so
around.
subtle. They're just like that, and then a minute goes by, and they start checking in between the chairs,
Yeah.
and then they're looking under, and they go crazy.
Yeah.
Like they just
It's
lose
really
it.
interesting,
Where's
isn't
Where's
it?
my vape?
Where's my vape?
Did you take
Yeah.
it? Did you take it? Who took it?
Yeah, and then you start questioning everyone, like, you know.
You take my vape. You take my vape.
That sort of look goes around going, right, who's got it? You know, that kind of.
It got it like I had an instance where I had a friend who was literally like, "Can you hide my vape? I cannot find this." And I was, like, they were literally like giving it to me to hide it in like the house.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
there is a desperation in youth
completely.
wanting to stop. In fact, I recently had someone on the phone. It was a school nurse bringing, with a young person, young teenager, very young teenager, so desperate to stop and just don't know what to do. Like, absolutely do not what to do, and just the fear of not having control over themselves was incredibly frightening for a very young person.
Yeah.